Okay, I'm going to say something that people probably won't like, but this idea of being stuck, which is very frustrating. What if you aren't really stuck? What if you're just like avoiding the things that need to be done? Now, when you say, well, to yourself, I'm just stuck, you feel like something outside of you is holding you into place. I don't know if you were a kid and you ever played that game Stuck in the Mud, you stayed frozen. But in actual fact, most of the time, that isn't actually what's happening to us. What's happening is that you're avoiding a decision, you're avoiding an action. Why? Why do we avoid those things? Because, of course, it feels uncomfortable. So many people think that they'll only take action if it feels easy. But to step outside your comfort zone and to create anything new in your life, you need to be willing to experience discomfort. Okay? You need to be willing or learn how to get comfortable with the discomfort. Okay? Because once you actually develop that skill, which comes from practice, something really does change. And if you want to experience any change in your life, you need to understand that it is going to require action. I think that we all know that quote: if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. And so the little golden nugget there is, in order to achieve something different, you need to be willing to do different things. And change, like I said, requires action of you. And action is, of course, going to require some risk and discomfort. But, you know, like what does our brain do? Like just having that awareness, you probably already know that, but it's going to keep you and want you to stay stuck. Because why? Trying to avoid that discomfort. And so instead of asking yourself, why can't I move forward? Acknowledge the fact that it probably is that discomfort. And, you can ask yourself instead, what is it that I'm avoiding? And how can I do it in a way that doesn't trigger that level of discomfort that makes me stay frozen? You do it in tiny little baby steps. Do 2 minutes here, do something rather than doing nothing. Okay. And the clarity that you are looking for is not going to come before you take action. It's going to come after you take action. Okay. But you won't discover it if you sit there staying frozen. So the thing that I want you to take away from this video is understanding, rather than telling yourself that you're stuck, consider saying to yourself instead, I'm just frozen. I feel, I'm avoiding something that needs to be done because it feels uncomfortable. And then once you have that awareness, you can do something different, and you can acknowledge the fact that in order to achieve anything different, okay, you need to be willing to, do it while feeling uncomfortable. And none of us like enjoys it. Like it's going to, feel uncomfortable and potentially sucky while you're taking those actions. But I promise you, inevitably, once you take that action, on the other side is the feeling that you're looking for. The relief and the joy and the pleasure and the pride always comes once you have done that action, whether you feel like it or not. And if you need help, taking those uncomfortable steps, make sure that you grab my free guide that is going to help you work towards your goals and move through life with so much more ease and grace. I have been your coach, Frances Vidakovic. I can't wait to catch you in the next video.